In light of the recent death of Wintergreen police officer Christopher Wagner, today, Now on 3, we'll be taking a look at numbers on violence against law enforcement. And joining me with those statistics is Frank Sotichetti, criminal justice planner with Rockingham County and the city of Harrisonburg. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, so starting on a national level, I know these numbers obviously change over these last 10 years that we're looking at. So take us through the numbers.
Okay, so it's important in criminal justice to look at trends. What we see is an anomaly in 2021 where it jumped up, and that was because of COVID. So police officers that died in the line of duty, COVID related, those numbers are counted. So what we see is not only the death numbers, so 144 in 2012 to 224 in 2022, but we see an average of 234 per year over that trend period.
All right, and I know not just looking at the deaths, but also those assaults and then assaults with injuries, that number also increasing. So touch a little bit on those numbers.
So there's approximately 225,000 police officers in the United States. So when we look at these numbers, we see that an average per year, 55,000 are assaulted, and then out of that, assaults that result in injuries is 16,000. So that's 16,000 police officers that were assaulted. That could be a motor vehicle, personal weapons, a knife. It could also be that were with a firearm. But that's a large percent of assaults. So it's important that the public realize that it isn't just the deaths in the line of duty, but also officers are assaulted, and that's less police officers than on the street while they're recovering.
And then this is obviously just a broad breakdown of just this year so far. So if you kind of want to touch on some of these numbers that are on
Yes, so the important numbers here are that so far 166 law enforcement officers have been shot in the line of duty. That's shot with a firearm. And the other important statistic here is that the number of officers that are shot in the line of duty from this year all the way back to 2020, so comparing those 2 years, is 40% more this year at this time than in 2020.
All right, so big increase from those COVID years, I guess, to now. So
yes.
I know we're also going to break down, this is so far over the years, I guess, just in the state. So if you want to maybe provide a breakdown, I know there's a little asterisk here that you'll touch on for 2022. So.
Yes, so in the Commonwealth of Virginia, between 2013 and 2023, there's been 14 officers killed in the line of duty. So that asterisk is very important because when we look at the statistics in 2022, it shows that 2 police officers were killed in the line of duty. However, there's an important distinction because J.J. Jefferson was a campus safety officer, and according to the way that federal law enforcement and federal statistics work, it has to be a sworn law enforcement officer, so a police officer, or a deputy, or a sheriff, or an agent. So unfortunately, that number 2 is really 3, because J.J. was an integral part of the campus safety at Bridgewater. So that isn't something that we need to tackle as far as changing the definition and so forth, but we have to realize that J.J. gave his life the exact same way as a police officer in those statistics.
All right, and I know the one death so far this year that we're covering throughout the day today is the death of Wintergreen police officer Chris Wagner. He was the one death so far this year. So
Yes.
Yes, so his end of watch was June 16th, and we will be providing continued team coverage throughout the day of Officer Wagner's funeral. And thank you so much for bringing in these statistics today.
Oh,
Frank.
you're welcome.